There are great footballers, there are legends, and then there's Ronaldinho, a man who made millions fall in love with football without saying a single word. He didn't just win matches, he made people smile. Every touch of the ball felt impossible. Every dribble looked like magic. Even his opponents couldn't help but applaud him. At his peak, Ronaldinho wasn't just the best player in the world, he was football itself. But what's even more incredible is how quickly it all disappeared. How could the happiest footballer in history go from the top of the world to becoming only a memory before turning 30? This is the unbelievable story of Ronaldinho.
It's two, Ronaldinho into the area. Ronaldinho! 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 What?
Al Ronaldinho que se va de dos, Ronaldinho continúa, Ronaldinho ¡gol! ¡Ronaldinho!
The boy who changed football. Long before the Ballon d'Or, before Barcelona, before millions of fans knew his name, there was simply a young boy named Ronaldo de Assis Moreira. He was born on March 21st, 1980 in Porto Alegre, Brazil. His family wasn't rich. His father worked at a shipyard and also looked after a local football field. His mother worked as a nurse. Football wasn't entertainment in Brazil. For many families, it was hope. And for Ronaldinho, it quickly became everything. His older brother Roberto was considered the real football talent of the family. Young Ronaldinho followed him everywhere. He watched every training session, copied every move, and dreamed that one day he could become just as good. But life suddenly changed forever. When Ronaldinho was only 8 years old, his father drowned in the family swimming pool after suffering a heart attack. It was one of the darkest moments of his childhood. Many children would have given up. Ronaldinho chose football instead. The ball became his escape, his language, his happiness. Where the magic was born. Unlike many Brazilian stars, Ronaldinho didn't grow up playing 11-a-side football. He spent countless hours playing futsal. A smaller ball, a smaller pitch, less time to think. Every second forced players to become faster, more creative, and technically perfect. Without realizing it, Ronaldinho was developing skills the football world had never truly seen before. As Ronaldinho grew older, his talent became impossible to ignore. One youth tournament completely changed everything. According to Brazilian reports, he scored an astonishing 23 goals in a single match. The story spread across Brazil. People couldn't believe it. Some even thought it was exaggerated. But one thing became clear. Brazil had found another special talent, and scouts were already watching. Soon, he joined Grêmio's first team. Even as a teenager, he played without fear. He dribbled experienced defenders exactly the same way he embarrassed kids in the streets. Fans couldn't stop talking about him. Because Ronaldinho didn't play football like everyone else. He played with joy. Every match felt like a show. Every touch invited people out of their seats. By the age of 19, he had already become one of Brazil's brightest young stars. The national team called, Europe started paying attention, and clubs with unlimited money prepared their offers. But nobody knew that the next chapter would introduce Ronaldinho to the entire planet. And it all started in Paris.
Right, I had wonderful moments here, so it's always nice to come back. Quite, right? But it still has, you know, the same magic as always. In my mind, seeing friends again, so whenever I have the opportunity to be here, it's always very exciting, very fun.
In 2001, Europe finally got its chance. Paris Saint-Germain signed Ronaldinho for around 5 million euros. For many fans, it was just another talented Brazilian arriving in Europe. They had no idea they were about to witness one of football's greatest entertainers. From the very first training sessions, Ronaldinho amazed everyone. He could control impossible passes, dribble football. There was only one problem. Ronaldinho loved life just as much as he loved football. Paris was one of the most exciting cities in the world, and Ronaldinho enjoyed every minute of it. Late nights, music, friends, parties. His manager, Luis Fernandes, often became frustrated. Some days, Ronaldinho looked unstoppable. Other days, he looked completely distracted. It was the first sign of a habit that would follow him for the rest of his career. His unbelievable talent often covered mistakes that would have destroyed other players' careers. But even without reaching his full potential, Europe could already see something special. Every weekend, new videos of Ronaldinho's skills spread across television. Fans weren't just watching matches, they were waiting for magic.
Qui a déjà marqué sur coup franc, c'était à Rennes, c'est parti, et Hamel battu, c'est le 3.
The tournament that changed everything in 2002. Brazil arrived at the World Cup under enormous pressure. 4 years earlier, they had lost the final to France. This time, failure wasn't an option. Brazil's attack became known as the 3 R's Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. 3 completely different players, one deadly combination. Ronaldo was the finisher, Rivaldo was the creator, Ronaldinho was pure imagination. No defender knew what he would do next. Sometimes, not even Ronaldinho himself was vulnerable. But before halftime, Rivaldo equalized. Everything would be decided in the second half. Then, in the 50th minute, football history changed. Brazil won a free kick almost 40 meters from goal. Everyone expected Ronaldinho to cross the ball into the penalty area. Even England's goalkeeper, David Seaman, stepped slightly forward. Ronaldinho looked up, took a few steps, and struck the ball. It flew higher and higher before suddenly dropping underneath. Predictable, completely unforgettable. Brazil would go on to defeat Turkey, then Germany in the final. Ronaldo scored twice. Brazil became world champions for the 5th time. Ronaldinho was only 22 years old. He had conquered the world. And now every major club in Europe wanted him. Manchester United believed they had signed him. But at the very last moment, one club changed football history forever. FC Barcelona. The transfer that changed Barcelona forever. In the summer of 2003, Barcelona wasn't the giant we know today. The club was in crisis. Real Madrid had built the famous Galacticos, signing stars like Luis Figo, Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario, and David Beckham. Meanwhile, Barcelona had finished another disappointing season. The fans were losing hope. The club needed more than just a great player. It needed someone who could bring joy back to football. That player was Ronaldinho. For around 30 million euros, Barcelona signed the Brazilian magician from Paris Saint-Germain. Many believed he was talented. Very few believed he would change everything. They were about to be proven wrong. A new era begins. Ronaldinho needed only one match to show Barcelona what was coming. Against Sevilla in his league debut, he received the ball nearly 30 meters from goal. Without hesitation, he accelerated past defenders. Then, he unleashed a thunderous shot that crashed in off the crossbar. Camp Nou exploded. It wasn't just a goal, it was a message. Barcelona had found its new king. From that moment on, everything started to change. Crowds returned, confidence returned. Most importantly, the smile returned. Ronaldinho wasn't just winning football matches. He was making people fall in love with football again. Every weekend felt like a show. Nobody knew what he would do next. A no-look pass, a rainbow flick, a back heel assist, an impossible dribble. Watching Ronaldinho wasn't about waiting for goals. It was about waiting for magic. Football had never seen anyone like him. Unlike many superstars, Ronaldinho didn't play with anger. He played with happiness. Every smile on the pitch felt genuine. He celebrated incredible goals the same way he celebrated simple passes. Children around the world began copying his moves. Boot companies sold millions of shirts with his name. Street football changed forever. Suddenly, every kid wanted to perform elastico dribbles, no-look passes, and impossible tricks. Ronaldinho wasn't following football culture. He was creating it. Even professional defenders admitted they had no idea how to stop him. Because Ronaldinho didn't always know what he was going to do next either. His football wasn't scripted, it was instinct. The night even, Real Madrid applauded. Then came one of the greatest performances in football history. November 19th, 2005. El Clásico, Real Madrid against Barcelona. The Santiago Bernabeu was full. Madrid expected to defeat their biggest rivals. Instead, they witnessed something unforgettable. Ronaldinho was unstoppable. Every time he touched the ball, defenders backed away. Then came the first goal. He accelerated between defenders before calmly finishing past Iker Casillas. But he wasn't done. Later in the match, Ronaldinho picked up the ball near the halfway line. He exploded forward with incredible speed. Sergio Ramos couldn't stop him. Ivan Helguera couldn't stop him. Nobody could. He finished brilliantly for Barcelona's third goal. The stadium fell silent. Then, something almost impossible happened. Thousands of Real Madrid supporters stood up and applauded Ronaldinho. One of football's fiercest rivalries had been forgotten for a moment. They weren't applauding Barcelona, they were applauding greatness. Only a handful of players in history have ever received a standing ovation from the Bernabeu while wearing the opposition's shirt. Ronaldinho became one of them. That night confirmed what the football world already suspected. He wasn't just the most entertaining player on earth, he was the best player in the world. The king of football. By 2005, there was no debate anymore. Ronaldinho wasn't just one of the best players in the world, he was the best. Every week, defenders tried to stop him. Every week, they failed. He played with a freedom that football had almost forgotten. There was no fear, no hesitation, no pressure, only imagination. Whether Barcelona were winning or losing, Ronaldinho always played with the same smile that had made him famous. In December 2005, football's biggest individual prize was announced, the Ballon d'Or. After years of breathtaking performances, Ronaldinho was crowned the best footballer on the planet. For a boy who had grown up playing barefoot on the streets of Porto Alegre, it was the ultimate reward. But those who knew him best weren't surprised. His teammates often said that what fans saw in matches was only a fraction of what he could do in training. Some claimed the most incredible tricks were never even captured on camera. To Ronaldinho, football wasn't work, it was play. And perhaps that was exactly why he became so extraordinary. The night Barcelona became champions of Europe. The 2005 to 2006 Champions League campaign confirmed Barcelona's return to the top. Ronaldinho wasn't always the player scoring the decisive goal, but he was almost always the player making everything happen. His creativity pulled defenses apart. His passes created space that didn't seem to exist. His confidence spread through the entire team. Barcelona reached the Champions League final against Arsenal in Paris. It wasn't an easy night. Arsenal took the lead despite playing with 10 men. For a moment, it looked as though Barcelona's dream would end in disappointment. But then Giuliano Belletti scored the winner. Barcelona were champions of Europe for the second time in ball. At that moment, he had won almost everything a footballer could dream of in Champions League. He was only 26 years old. Most players would have been entering the best years of their careers. For Ronaldinho, the story was about to take a very different turn. But greatness doesn't last forever. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Ronaldinho was the face of world football. Sponsors adored him. Fans worshipped him. Children copied every move he made. But behind the scenes, small cracks had already begun to appear. Training sessions became less consistent. His physical condition slowly declined. The nightlife that had once seemed harmless started becoming a serious problem. Barcelona's coaching staff noticed the change. At first, they believed it was only temporary. They were wrong, because the happiest footballer in the world was slowly beginning to lose the one thing that had made him unstoppable. And soon, Barcelona would have to make one of the hardest decisions in the club's history. By 2007, something had changed. Ronaldinho was still capable of moments of brilliance. He could still produce passes no one else could see. He could still embarrass defenders with a single touch. But those magical moments became less frequent. The speed that once terrified defenders began to fade. His fitness declined. Training became inconsistent. And the lifestyle that had once seemed harmless was now affecting his performances. Barcelona had stood by him for years, but football never waits. A new generation was arriving, and one young player was ready to become the club's future. Lionel Messi. Guardiola's tough decision. In the summer of 2008, Barcelona appointed a new manager, Pep Guardiola. It was one of the boldest decisions in the club's history. Pep believed Barcelona needed a completely new culture. Discipline, intensity, commitment, no exceptions. Even if your name was Ronaldinho. Many expected Guardiola to build his team around the Brazilian legend. Instead, he made one of the most shocking decisions in modern football. Ronaldinho was no longer part of his plans. Barcelona chose to move forward with Lionel Messi as the new leader. For many fans, it felt impossible. The king had been replaced. A new adventure in Italy. Ronaldinho joined AC Milan in 2008. The expectations were enormous. Could he return to his very best? At times, it looked like he could. He produced brilliant assists, scored unforgettable goals, and reminded everyone of the genius he still possessed. But the consistency never returned. The explosive acceleration that had once destroyed defenders was no longer there. The football world slowly accepted a difficult truth. The greatest entertainer of his generation would never again reach the level he had shown at Barcelona. Many believed Ronaldinho's career was over. They were wrong. Back in Brazil, he joined Atletico Mineiro. Most people expected a farewell tour. Instead, he delivered one final masterpiece. Leading the team with his creativity and experience, Ronaldinho helped Atletico Mineiro win the 2013 Copa Libertadores, the most prestigious club competition in South America. It was the first Libertadores title in the club's history. Even in the later stages of his career, he proved that true football intelligence never disappears. The pace may fade, the legs may slow down, but genius remains. Life after football. After retiring, Ronaldinho remained one of the most recognizable faces in sport. Wherever he traveled, crowds gathered, not because of controversy, not because of records, but because people wanted to thank the man who had made football fun. In 2020, however, he made headlines for a very different reason. Ronaldinho and his brother were detained in Paraguay after entering the country with false passports. They spent several months under legal restrictions before the case was resolved. For many fans, it was shocking to see a global icon in such a situation. Yet even that episode could not erase what he had given to football. The legacy of Ronaldinho. Some players are remembered for statistics, others for trophies. Ronaldinho will always be remembered for something much rarer: joy. He reminded the world that football wasn't only about winning, it was about imagination, creativity, freedom. He inspired an entire generation of players, from Lionel Messi to Neymar and countless others who grew up trying to copy his smile, his tricks, and his fearless style. Even today, highlights of Ronaldinho continue to spread across the internet, attracting millions of views years after they happen. Because true magic never gets old. Ending years from now, football fans will continue to argue about who was the greatest player of all time. Some will choose Pelé, others will say Maradona. Many will choose Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. There may never be a single answer. But if you ask one different question, who made football the most beautiful? Who made millions of children run outside with a ball? Who made even rival fans stand up and applaud? One name will always be part of that conversation: Ronaldinho. He didn't just play football, he reminded the world why we fell in love with it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Top Fry for more documentaries about the greatest legends in football. The next story is just beginning.